The People's Democratic Party, PDP, Governors Forum has brokered a truce after a difficult week of suspensions within the National Working Committee. The chairman of the forum and the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, called for a return to the state of things before the crisis last week. He announced that all suspensions and counter-suspensions are nullified. Mohammed stated that while disputes are common in politics, they must be resolved together. Now, will this truce allow common sense to prevail? And can the party effectively rally its members ahead of the upcoming elections in Ondo State? That's the question. For more on this, I'm joined from our Lagos studio by the PDP Chieftain and publisher, Mr. Dele Momodu. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Momodu.
Thank you and good evening, Lady Constance.
Okay. Well, let's start with your party, the resolution of the PDP Governors Forum. At the end of their meeting today, they decided to ask everyone to fall back to what existed last week and earlier this week before all the crisis started. Do you think, as a member, this is a fair resolution, or you think a truce has really been called?
Well, I believe that it's a very good start. If you had asked me this same question this time yesterday, my response would have been different. But I'm happy that finally the PDP Governors Forum is rising up to its responsibilities. A lot of Nigerians have been troubled at a time when opposition is largely needed. We have been found wanting. We have been sleeping and snoring. But today, a lot of our members are happy that, okay, hopefully, maybe finally, we have found the courage to deal with the situation affecting the fortunes of our dear beloved party, PDP. So for me, it's a good beginning. I'm happy that the governors have suspended all suspensions. So that is good news.
Well, it's instructive that you use the word courage, because a lot of people think that what has been happening in the PDP is that they've been shifting, the crisis, the little problems, and then it's been piling up. So let's look at this possible scenario. What if those warring factions refuse to revert? What do you see happening? What's going to happen?
Trust me, the governors have been extremely patient for obvious reasons. I shoot straight. The crux of the matter has been that one of their former colleagues, now a minister in FCT, who now is working for the APC in government, they've been trying to manage him. He was a very, very powerful, very influential member of their caucus. So you must understand and appreciate why they couldn't just come into the matter. For whatever you say about some Wike, it's been good to a lot of them. It's been very generous to everybody. And so because of that, people don't want to offend him in the party. He has also been good to the party, but I think the party has done so much for him. They say to whom much is given, much is expected. So that is why I believe the governors were very reluctant to get involved. What were the issues? The first issue was that he lost the primary in 2022 to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president. And since then, it seems he's not been able to get over such disappointment, because he was so sure that he was going to get the ticket and he was going to be the next president of Nigeria. So he was pained. That's natural. Anyone who has ever lost anything in life would always feel very bad. So you can't hold him for that. But we expected that as months climbed over months, that he would get over it, but he never got over it. Then the final situation came from the most unlikely of places, Rivers State, where he left as governor and he was able to install a successor, the man we all call Sim Fubara. Nobody expected the godfather and the godson to have any issues whatsoever. But maybe after the governor had bottled up some, he could no longer take it. Then he exploded, and then, like we say, decided to burst. But I thought if I was in the shoes of Minister Nyesom Wike, the moment the president, and we must give credit to President Tinubu for once, he intervened positively by inviting the two parties. And he advised them, I wouldn't want to use the word instructed them, because they're adults. He advised them to go back to the status quo and maintain status quo. While the governor, in fact, a lot of people disagree with the governor, that why did you sign such an agreement? I expected Minister Nyesom Wike to use that excuse to run away from complete and total demystification. You know, when an elder in Africa sees a snake and is afraid of the snake, he will say, I'm running to go and get a stick to come and kill the snake. He's using style to run away from the snake. That's what I expected Wike to have done. That he will say, because Mr. President has called us, let me withdraw from this fight. But not my brother and friend Wike. Wike, in fact, really went all out on a blistering attack on his godson. And even as at about 2 weeks ago, after the local government elections, you would expect that, okay, let me just leave this guy and leave him to God. If truly he had things that were worrying him, but still not Wike. But I think the last straw that broke the camel's back was when Wike started attacking some PDP governors who said they were standing by Fubara. I think at that stage, he mismanaged everything. Okay. He said none of them born of a woman. In Africa, that's like abusing your mother. He said none of them born of a woman can stop him from doing what he's doing. Then he said on another occasion that I am bigger than all of them combined. And you know there's a saying in Yoruba that Ijotaba Kairu inu eru abaje. The day you call a man a slave, the man will have to react and say, I am not a slave. I think that's what happened. And I think at that stage, the governors felt, no, this is getting out of hand. We've respected our friend, our brother and colleague enough. If he's not going to respect us, then let us wield the big stick. And I think what they are doing now is to still make sure that whatever happens, Wike is not humiliated. Oh, and I'm hoping that Wike will accept their olive branch and everything can move on as usual.
Oh, okay. You see, you did mention that Wike was generous. You know, we also remember that at some point he was funding the party, you know, when he was governor of Rivers State. Do you see how that could be problematic, that one man becomes sort of an institution and it turns out to create a lot of problem for a party? While reflecting, what is PDP going to do about occurrences such as this?
Well, I'm afraid I don't think generosity means that people should be enslaved. I've dealt with many generous people in my life, but none has ever called me a slave, and none has ever asked me to be a slave. I don't think he was more generous than Governor Peter Odili. Everybody knew that Governor Peter Odili was the original godfather in Rivers State. Then Chibuke Rotimi Amechi, I mean, was one of those who sponsored President Momodu Buhari from these same rivers. He didn't hold anybody to ransom. At some point, Wike was Amechi's chief of staff. Once upon a time, they were very good friends and associates. But I don't think anybody could have come back to control Wike when he was governor. And that's why some of us, I want to say this tonight, I don't have any personal relationship whatsoever, but I like to support underdogs. I felt that, look, you've done your own. God has just your way. You are in Abuja. You have a very powerful portfolio. Even last week, he himself was boasting that his portfolio has a big budget. So then, why are you worrying yourself in rivers? I like to say a lot of Yoruba proverbs because that's my background. You do not carry an elephant on your head and you are worrying about ants on the floor. I think that has been the mistake that Mr. Wike is making. And I pray, I wrote him letters in the last 2 years, copious letters. I even copied our mutual friends, warning him about what to come, because I'm a good student of history. Some of our mutual friends don't talk to us today because they're afraid of Wike. They don't want to offend him. But I told him the truth. When I have a friend, I will tell you the truth no matter how powerful you are. I told him the truth. I said, leave this thing. Look, I can tell you it's going to be almost impossible for you to win the primaries. He didn't believe me. That was when we started quarreling. I told him, because I had access to information.
Right. From
the highest level to the lowest level. My network, I always say, is my net worth. So Wike at this stage should just drop it. But if he still wants to hold on fastidiously to PDP, I can guarantee you it's either he will kill PDP or PDP too will get rid of. One must happen. But okay, I believe it is in his best interest to just leave it at this stage and face his work in Abuja.
So it's interesting that you use the word adults for all that's going on. I'm sure that you are also reviewing all the occurrences. And what do you think causes grown men to behave so poorly? Because this crisis has not involved only Wike. There are so many other people, whether the suspensions, the counter suspensions, and a lot of things. What makes grown men behave so poorly within politics in Nigeria and other sectors? Is there an explanation for this?
Yes, there's an explanation. Total lack of discipline, greed, and selfishness, self-centeredness. When a man believes that, yes, because I'm in power, I've become God. But I personally have gone through so many presidents in Nigeria, so many governors, so many ministers. I know that power ends ultimately. Can you believe that 8 years of President Buhari, they've gone already, forever? So your legacy should be your concern. So people are behaving this way because they say they want to control structures. But they don't want to control structures for the betterment of their people, but it is for their personal interests. Most times, egoistic, because I don't think money, some of these guys have so much money, they are stupendously wealthy, that they don't even need to fight over any structures again, but they still want to be the alpha and omega in their state. So, and he has boasted that nobody can take his structures away from him. I don't know what they do with the structures since I've never been in government. But I just want to say that today, the leader of our party in Rivers State is the governor. Let him take his rightful place. Even if you gave birth to him, you pray for your child to grow bigger than you, to achieve more than you. I've been preaching, but nobody was listening. So you can see where we are. Now you've allowed this young man who used to say yes, yes, yes to you to look at you straight, with a straight poker face and say, to hell, I don't care any longer. That is not, I don't think that is good enough.
Okay. There are members of your party who believe that when there are no sanctions, it encourages people to continue to, you know, be mischievous and engage in treachery. Are you in that school of thought or that camp that says there has to be sanctions as it relates to your party?
I said it long ago that if I had the power, I would have fired Wike since. If I had the power, but I don't have the power. I'm just one man within the party. You know, because the embarrassment to our party is unprecedented. Oh, I made a PDP. Oh, I was the one funding PDP. Look, this evening, before starting this interview, I was talking to people in the studio. I said, do you know I was a member of Leaders and Company from day one in 1992, that the first two vehicles, Nduka bought, Nduka Bagbena, he gave me one of it. I started Arise. We were talking with Ruben Abati, with Wale Olale and all of us from their Papa studio. When I arrived at I said, so is it possible for me to now wake up and tell Nduka Bagbena that because of my contributions to your organization, I am now in charge? That's what is happening in PDP. We all benefited from working for those institutions, this day and Arise. We benefited from it. It gave us to a lot of exposure, a lot of contact. That is what Wike has done. Wike is saying, I did this for PDP, but PDP did much more for every one of them. I don't know anybody luckier than Wike in politics today, apart from the president. So I don't know of anybody. He has been chairman of a local government. He became chief of staff. He became minister of state education. He became governor for 8 years. Now you are a very powerful minister of the Federal Capital Territory. What more can a man ask for? Right. Your wife is now a judge of the appeal court. Please, what more? You have beautiful children. You have a beautiful family. Why don't you just sit with them and enjoy life with them instead of all this hocus pocus?
So let's look at the politics in general outside of PDP. When you look at what is going on in the country today, are these the crop of people, the class of people that will unleash the brilliance in Nigeria? What do you see? Because these are the people in power, in positions of authority. Where are we going with this?
Trust me, it's been very disappointing what is going on. I thought politics, I thought democracy was about managing people and resources. I didn't know that politics should be a matter of life and death. We have too many brilliant people in Nigeria today, but it's obvious from what I'm seeing with APC that maybe they are afraid of the next elections, and that is my theory is that they are deliberately fueling crisis in all the major opposition parties. If you go to Peter Obi's party, you will see crisis. If you go to Rabiu Kwankwaso's party, you will see crisis. Then in PDP, our own, it has dragged on for too long. And I'm hoping that this month, come rain, come fire, that it will be resolved. Otherwise, the party will implode, and that will be the end. It will be to the end to Israel for a lot of people. It will be unfortunate. Because this is the oldest surviving, the biggest in Africa. A great party of great men and women who have done very, very well. He is not perfect like all mortals, but you had an Obasanjo who got our debt written off. Had Yaradua, who was not a spendthrift. He managed people and resources to the best of his abilities until death took him away. You had the President Jonathan, and a lot of us thought, oh, he was incompetent, he was this. He turned out to be most competent. That's the way of life. People are even begging that he come back. So then you had a Buhari, APC itself that gave birth to Buhari, now attacking Buhari. But now, already missing even Baba Buhari. A lot of people are saying, look, return us to where Buhari handed over to you. At least then we will know fuel will be cheaper. We will know that Gari will be cheaper. We will know that rice will be cheaper. So That is how bad the situation is right now. So a lot of people believe, the theory is that maybe APC is the one fueling all this internal crisis, so that for as long as there is no, cooperation amongst the leadership of the opposition parties, then nobody will be able to take on the APC behemoth.
Oh, okay. We're almost out of time. I have to ask you, on the elections that are upcoming, what next for PDP? Where do we go from here for your party?
Well, I pray that what I saw in Akure today will continue to be like that, because without unity, without a crack in the wall, there'll be no lizards going in there. So if we saw this type of unity in Edo State, it would have been difficult for anybody to rig any election. You see, I always tell people, they will say, oh, the government can rig election. A government can only rig election where it is substantially popular. But in a situation where the people have overwhelmingly rejected a political party, there is nothing they can do. I believe that APC is defeatable in Ondo State, and our governors are very determined that they are not going to open their eyes and allow insects to go in there. So that's why today they mobilized as many of their people that can go. I was happy to see the governor of Bauchi, the chairman of our governors forum, Bala Muhammad. I was happy to see Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State. I was happy to see the dancing governor, my friend and brother, Ademola Deleke, and all of them in an atmosphere of peace, of love, of tranquility, and of vision. These are great guys who have made our party very proud. And we hope that they will not allow any individual, no matter how powerful, to take away our joy.
Okay. Mr. Dele Momodu, thank you for taking the time to be with us this evening. Thank you.